Hello, everyone. We are starting the stream, and welcome to the DM Community Greece. We will have a lovely second talk already. So again, I'm welcoming everyone. I see that people start joining the stream. I will do a short intro while people are joining, and then we move on to the talk. First of all, I'll just do a short intro of myself. So I'm Ostap Kovalchuk, I'm delivery manager. I'm heavily involved in this community, so I will be facilitating the talk today. I hope everyone can hear me. By the way, can you please go into the chat and type plus if you can hear me, and minus or something else if you cannot. Let's just check if everything is fine. Okay, I see the first classes flowing. Perfect. Cool. Someone even posted 5 classes. Thank you. All right. I hope everyone is finishing their workday. We have a very interesting hour in front of us. I'm really excited. I've seen some preparatory materials, and it was very exciting, insightful. So I'm really want to introduce the speakers to you. Before I will do that, of course, the topic that we are doing now is about Agile. I think the world is talking about Agile and Agile methodologies for, I don't know, 5-10 years or even more. But still, our topic is about Agile, but with a caveat, how to make it work. I won't say a lot about the speech. I will let speakers to do that. But again, I'm really excited. And I see the speakers are joining. Before we jump to the talk, one thing, we have an hour. So in the end, we have a small surprise for you. It's just going to be a small interactive session of the feedback. We'll need 5 minutes for that. So I'm asking you to stay and provide the feedback. That's very valuable because we're already planning the next talk. In a month, end of February, we'll have another talk about Agile. That would be a continuation of this one. That would be mostly focused on the Scale Agile framework. That's another interesting topic. We'll touch base on this a bit today. But we'll explore it in full scale on the next call. 2 more organizational questions, and we will start. First of all, about the questions, if you have any questions, type them in the chat. I'll monitor the chat and we'll try to ask them. In any case, we'll have a Q&A session, 10 minutes in the end. So feel free to type them. They would be asked either during the session or in the end. And the last thing, we also have a call for speaker. So if you want to be a speaker next time, feel free to contact the organizers. You will also receive the email, a feedback email. Feel free to respond to that and say, guys, I have some interesting experience to share. So feel free to do that. You will be most welcome. Cool. I think we've done the introduction. Again, I would like to welcome our speakers, Serhiy and Uliana. Very excited again. So the stage is yours.
Hi, guys. Welcome here. So, Uliana, if you don't mind, could you possibly go first, ladies first?
Okay, I will start with my self-introduction then while Serhiy is sharing the screen. My name is Uliana. I'm a senior Agile coach at EPAM, and I've been working at EPAM for more than 16 years. Apart from that, I'm a leading Ukrainian Agile community, have some experience related to Agile, Scrum, and all other Agile methodologies. My speech will be at the end, and it will be the high-level presentation of the scaling frameworks, but I will do my best to have it enjoyable and interesting. Briefly, that's it. Serhiy, pass over to you.
Thank you, Uliana. I'm Andronic. I also work at EPAM, and in EPAM, I'm playing the role of Scrum Master, but as far as you know, really often that's a role, and you should be in position of project manager, project coordinator, sometimes even wouldn't work like delivery manager, but that's not about that. About certification titles that I achieved last few years, I certified PMP1, full KMP, Scrum at scale, and also tried myself in Safe, so I became Safe Agist and Safe Scrum Master. It's really fun and interesting experience, and you will see why I mentioned that, because our presentation will not be only presentation from our side. We will be really often asking you some kind of questions, so we will ask you to think and share your experience as well. And also feel free to ask your questions in the chat. We are reading it. We will present your questions. We will try to answer them and also share experience. Okay, guys, if possible, can you possibly display the audience that came today to our presentation, to our workshop? Could you possibly share your title or your position? It will be nice to see how many people are here, know about Agile something, or maybe well experienced with Agile. Okay. I started, and once you're doing that, let's go with our presentation first. So our presentation is called Agile That Really Works, and we want to share with you some tips and tricks, not only say in brief theory, because Scrum is really easy to learn, to understand, but really hard to learn, right, and to achieve. So Scrum Master, QA Manager, Project Manager, SM role, say delivery manager, Scrum Master, QA lead, DevOps. Oh, nice. So we got really different positions here, and I will try to shift my presentation a little bit. I mean, these questions, so it will be interesting for all of you. Okay. So what is a Scrum? Scrum is a framework that is the best to achieve some results. Why we saying some? Because you will answer me that in a second. But Scrum is allowing you to respond to change. It's involved cross-functional teams, as you can see. It provides you segmentational development, and it's continuous interaction. And last point is really interesting because if you had about daemon cycle, it's allowing you plan, do, check, act, repeat it, and improve all the time. And based on that, we either continue until we deliver a project, or we run out of the budget, right? Sometimes Scrum is not really good. And can you possibly share the projects where Scrum possibly won't fit? At least from your experience or your opinion in the chat as well, please. Give you a few seconds. It'll be possible to deliver a small project, for example, as it can do in a week or two. Do we need to set up Scrum team for that? Okay, no answers in the chat yet. Environment. Super small projects, yeah, that won't fit. And what do you think about projects like building rockets? Could you possibly build part of engine, build part of Starship, build part of survival system or whatsoever, build part of the systems that launch it, and not build as whole? It's really cool, a big, complicated project. So it could be developed using by Scrum. Possibly, yes. But each part of it should be delivered or could be delivered by using Scrum, right? And if you're looking on that project, like building a rocket overall, it looks like more waterfallish. Okay, don't feel the sprint. Okay, yeah, you're warming up a bit. Okay, you know why do we call it a Scrum? And as you can see, I intentionally put rugby, and that time from rugby and sport, and in Scrum called in rugby that position where all the team focus on one goal. And Scrum is really simple to understand and difficult to master. So I will try to fit all my presentation next 20-25 minutes. I don't want to fit all Scrum Guide here, but I will sure highlight most interesting questions, most interesting things, and ask you to do something. And as far as you know, origin of Scrum started at 1986, and there was 2 persons that delivered it. It's the next slide, Jeff Sutherland and Ken Schwaber. And there is a link on Scrum Guide. Could you possibly, guys, paste it in chat for someone? Can possibly do it. All project could fit. And so there is a link to Scrum Guide. And as far as you know, Scrum is purposely incomplete. So it's building you kind of rules, it's setting up roles, it's setting up artifacts, etc., setting up Scrum events, but is it allowing you to do everything by using only Scrum? And possibly you already answered on that, because even on the questions, we see that the person answered my question that he or she is a project manager and playing Scrum Master role. Scrum Master is a role, so Scrum is framework. It could be fit well, it could be possibly not fit well, and it depends on you how you learn it. And you should put ahead of Scrum Master, then you're using Scrum, and you should be shielding your team, right? But for that, we need to know what the Scrum is. And basically, you need to build a Scrum like an hostile environment, and where product owner works a complex problem into product backlog. And Scrum team turns the selection of work into increment of value during a sprint. And the Scrum team and stakeholders inspect the results and adjust for the next sprint. And you repeat it until, as I said, you either successfully deliver a project, or client decided to stop it, or you run out of budget. So there is another one question here. Do you know what is increment in Scrum? You can also paste it in the chat. We'll speak about it later, but could you possibly, by your own words, you don't need to copy paste something from Scrum Guide or from internet. Shippable product, yeah, something shippable, something that you can present to the client. And it's a really nice and interesting question here. Really often, if you're talking about Scrum, we're talking about sprints, right? And if somebody has been passing already PSM1, there is quite a few questions about sprint 0. So is there sprint 0 in Scrum? Yes or no? Okay, yeah, somebody does his homework really well. Yep, there is no sprint 0 in Scrum. But then there is another question. Could we start building a Scrum team, start using Scrum? Oh, somebody saying yes. Oh, okay, Babis, you can provide more feedback here. So what you understand as sprint 0 is first sprint is sprint 1. What you're gonna deliver at sprint 1, as I told you, it's shippable increment of value. But what could it be? Something that you can demo to a client, something that you can demonstrate to a client, something that moving you towards your product goal. Even it will be a simple like landing page with hello world text. That means you already set up environment, you set up a team, you set up internal process, and you set up your, for example, CI/CD or fast environments that you will be using, like test environment or pre-prod or prod environment, and you demo something to a client. That's a result of your sprint 1. But really often people are calling it sprint 0. It's preparation work, Babis. Yeah, thank you for answering. Any job done is preparation work. You can do your preparation work, and really often people are messing up with that Scrum sprint 0 and in Scrum, but there is no sprint 0 in Scrum, and sprint 1. You start in sprint 1 once you have assembled a team, once you have your product backlog set, once you have your product goal set, once you agreed with the team about your process, etc. Yeah, Victor. Yeah, thank you for the question. Okay, let's stop here for a second. You agreed on that during assembling a team. It's, as I told you, it's groundwork, preparation work. And let's stop here because I got a small tip for all of you, and you can possibly even screenshot it for yourself or like digest it a bit later, because I made a small preparation for people who probably are not knowing Scrum well, but or at least trying to set it up with newly assembled teams. So it will display it on next slides later. So let's back to it a bit later. So let's talk about principles, pillars, and 5 values of Scrum. Okay. I already gave you a tip. So as you can see, Scrum is based on 3 main principles, 3 values, right? It's transparency, inspection, and adaptation. They work only all together, so they can be possible working one without another. And as you can see, all of them are built on trust. So truly, I tried to search on the internet for a nice picture, and it's possibly one of the best pictures that I ever found, because as you can see, in front of our buildings, there is some kind of swamp. And only trust are providing you a foundation for your Scrum, for your building. Without trust, you can't assemble a team. Without a trust, without transparency, you can't set up your inspection, your adaptation. You can't get better, and we can't call it a Scrum. It will be like cargo cult of Scrum, right? And as you can see, here's 5 values: courage, focus, commitment, respect, and openness. They're also really important and important principles, and they allow a team to work great, because with courage, Scrum team members have courage to do the right things and work on tough problems. Does it mean to challenge everyone? Yes. Should you, as Scrum Master, welcome or stop conflicts? That's a question to audience. Should you welcome conflicts or should you stop them? Any answers? Yes, but you should stop them when they're getting really in person or getting personal. We should welcome them, especially when we just assemble the team, because the team will be challenging one another. Team will be setting up internal rules and principles, and that conflicts are allowing team to work better. But yeah, that's possible conflicts, not negative ones. So you should be as a person who will be setting up rules for the conflicts. And truly, it's not like conflicts like arguing. It's conflicts that giving value to the team, value to the client. Yeah, in storm phase. Yep, correct. What calls inspection? Inspection means that we are inspecting what and how we are doing, and we deciding how to do it better. And adaptation means that we try in different ways. It's really simple words. You can read more in Scrum Guide, but in adaptation means that we adapt changes, adapt to something that possibly changing during our delivery, our sprints, adaptation to new requirements from client, and only that are allowing us to build Scrum. And here's another quick question to all of you. What do you do with the change requests? Sorry, I'm running a bit in front of all the presentation, but audience really warmed up. What do you do with the change requests in Scrum? Any answers? Should you welcome them? Should you stop them? Should you stop the sprint, close the sprint, run from that position, from that project? Say, I don't want to work with the client. Okay, depends. Mostly we welcome them. Yep, thank you, Anatoly. We should welcome, if we're talking about refining the Scrum team, that's a result when we have a change request. Agree on change is also kind of result with a refined change request. First of all, we need to welcome them because business may require them. And in that mood, in that position, if your Scrum team should be raised, because they should welcome any changes that come along, even that means to do some work already done. Sorry, business required it. I know that it's pity to redo some work or do it in different way or delete part of your work you already achieved, but sometimes business is requiring it. And you don't need to forget that business is paying money for that. This is why they're playing that music. So yes, you should welcome changes, and yes, you should evaluate them. You should see and provide feedback how they interfere with the whole project, how they will provide impact on the project. Possibly that means that project should be stopped. Sometimes your sprints should be stopped. I have it in my experience, but small changes, they should come along, and for that you need some spare capacity. Okay, let's talk about capacity. Audience is really warmed up. Let's imagine you have several sprints already, let's say up to 10, and your yesterday's weather at the time used to calculate your average velocity for the last, let's say, 3, 5, or 7 sprints is about 20 story points. You deliver about 20 story points. And you plan the next sprint. How much story points you about to take to that sprint? And let's say you have one, okay, yeah. How much story points you want to take in the next sprint? Any answers? Okay, a bit risky. No more than 20, yes, but close to capacity, yes. And how much close? 10 is close to capacity, or 19 is close to capacity? 18, okay. 19.5. Okay, you should be taking about something like 16, 17, 18 story points, maybe 19. It depends from your team, from your average velocity on last few sprints. So you should compare it with yesterday's weather. And also it depends on the stories you will be taking in sprint. I will follow up with a follow-up question. Let's imagine you have several stories in your backlog ready to be taken into sprint, and business insisting to take them. One of them is 8 story points. Another one is 8 story points, and the rest of them like 1, 2, 3 story points each. Do you willing to take 2 big ones, one big one, several small ones, or only small ones? Mix. Okay. It's a tricky question. I will explain why. Okay, any answers? Okay, it depends on the value of story provided to the product. I can say all of them available to a business. So business is saying deliver them as quickly as possible. Depends on the goal. Goal to deliver whole product. I will play with you a bit here, guys. Apologies. Oh, any questions, guys? Any answers? Apologies for my question. The PO will decide, but capacity seems too low, too big to goal of increment. Okay, but you should be setting up goal once you are ready your sprint backlog, right? Sprint goal. Sprint goal is setting up after you will be setting up your sprint backlog. So you have your backlog for sprint ready, and only after that you setting up your sprint goal. Sometimes sprint goal came from business, and that could impact. And here's the answer to my question. Taking into account the team capacity, and depends. Okay, yeah, that's a bit more close, but you should be taking the most prioritized stories from top of backlog. If on top of backlog 2 big ones, you're supposed to take 2 big ones at first. But then you need to do iteration to check team capacity and dependencies. Possibly some of the teams will be on leave, or possibly that 2 huge stories could be delivered one after another. It means you can deliver 2 of them in one sprint. And even if you will finish development, you possibly will not have enough time to finish testing, right? And there is possibly also some other dependencies. So it should be divided. Yeah, but let's play that 8 can be divided. It should be delivered as whole. And you should be checking about dependencies. You should be checking about internal, external dependencies, not only internal dependencies, but possibly you depend on some external team, on some external solution. And you definitely need to be asking your PO, what should be delivered first? You can verify it because you can say, okay, we're taking 2 big stories. Looks like we will deliver them in a sprint, but there is high risk that possibly we will fail with something. We could fail on both of them. So possibly the best answer here, you've taken everything into consideration to take one big one and take a few small ones. And also not take them up to the whole capacity of this team. Okay, it was nice. Yeah, you warm up a bit, I see. Okay, there will be more funny questions along the way. So here's a big picture of Scrum framework. I possibly will not stop here for long. But as you can see, there is one more point here. No changes should be endangered the sprint goal. So once you see that your sprint goal become obsolete, you should be stopping the sprint and you should be considering starting a new sprint. So that's the first rule. Another rule is that on the end, you should be having a product increment, as you can see, something shippable to a client. Okay, what I want to ask you here. Yeah, it's already. Let me switch to another slide. Possibly I will ask something there. So as you can see, Scrum makes visible the relational efficiency of current management, environment, and work techniques so that improvement can be made. And it depends on the interaction, it depends on the elaboration. And what I want to ask you here, what do you understand as cross-functional team? So does it mean that each person should be both developer, QA, etc., DevOps? Yeah, everyone should do everything, but that's not real. Cross-functional team means the team has ability and capacity to do all the work requires. It means if there is some work needs to be done, like for example, to deploy to Azure or any other environments, you should be having responsible DevOps. If you're using like React on front end, you should be having React developers. If you're using like Node.js or .NET or Java as backend, you should be having Java, .NET or Node.js developers. You should be having an QAs, but let's imagine if you want to set up automation, you should be having QA automation, or at least QAs that will be learning and or want to learn automation, right? And somebody who in the team, like QA lead, who will be setting up the testing environment for automation and will help him to learn it. Okay, let's move on. So how to start Scrum? I said that I will provide you with small tips, and that's my small list of the things that you do as prerequisite and what you do for like setting up a Scrum for newly created teams. Let me read it out very quickly for you. So prerequisite, recognize a Scrum training session. It's really important. Really often I came into these teams and even with people who was in business for 5, 10, even sometimes more than 12, 15 years, they can understand Scrum a bit differently. You need to set up a Scrum training session. You need to set up ground rules and need to explain the Scrum and need to hear the team, their experience, etc. Why we need to do it? We need to do exchange experience and be on the same stage. We need to find a product owner. A point of product owner is that is not a separate position and assign it to that person. Sometimes product owner could be a client representative, but let's imagine your client representative could be reached. What does it mean for you? You should appoint product owner from a team. Sometimes it could be someone from a team, sometimes it could be external or internal architect, or some person or business analyst, right, who will be a product owner. Who played the product owner role? Any answers on that in the chat? Do we have any product owners here? Voice it out, put plus, or at least to play it, that role. Yeah, we know that's normally BA or client representatives, but let's imagine you have client representative who are not knowing about software development and who are not a business analyst, and you don't have a BA. It could be team lead. Okay, here's a question. Who will be writing user story? Who will be assembling backlog? That could be any person, guys. Yeah, could be, but that could be any person. And you need to learn with your teams that you don't need to wait for one person to write a user story, especially if that's a technical task or technical story, that should be delivered by the team itself. I mean, the team should be writing it. And let's move on. So as prerequisite, you need to create a working space or organize remote space interaction channels if remote. That means if you're working remote or even if you're working in one office, it means you need to set up time when we'll be having common sessions, and we'll speak about that common session in a bit. Layout, initial architecture design, and form a team. Developers and Scrum Master, appointing Scrum Master if that is not a separate position and assigned to a person. And Scrum for newly created teams, done as part of the presentation. I'll speed up a bit because we got only 1 hour and I need to spare 10 minutes for questions. I need to spare 10 minutes for Uliana, so we've got 8 minutes left. Apologies for that, guys. You create an initial product backlog by product owner, and you need to review, refine, and estimate the product backlog. You don't need to refine all product backlog. So your product backlog should be and could be incomplete, especially at the beginning. Start with something simple. Besides the length of the sprint, usually 2 to 4 weeks, but you could be running 1 week sprint as well. Record the definition of done. That's really important thing. That's really often teams are forgetting about it. And don't forget that your definition of done could be getting more strict as the time passed, because you're getting used to the Scrum, your team getting more experience, and you can improve your quality, right? And that definition of done is allowing you to do that. In the setup development environment, you need to identify requirements missing our skills, so possibly need to involve somebody or solve that work out of the Scrum team. And you have a kickoff, get the team together and start your first sprint. As you can see, all of that is kind of preparation. Really often they call sprint 0, but before we start sprint 1, there is no sprint 0, there is only preparation. And that could be done, as you can see here, and that is required. And there is a sprint event for newly created teams, that process similar to in each sprint. During sprint planning, the team pulls a small chunk from the top of that wish list, a sprint backlog, and decides how to implement those pieces. It's really important. Yep, I see. I got 6 minutes left. The team has a certain amount of time sprint to complete the work. Along the way, the Scrum Master keeps the team focused on its goal. At the end of sprint, the work should be potentially shippable, shown to a stakeholder, or ready to deploy to a customer. The sprint ends with a sprint review and sprint retrospective. And as the next sprint begins, the team chooses another chunk of product backlog and begins working again. This goes until the end of projects, either by stopping to work, deadline, budget, etc., or by completing the entire wish list. So it's really nice question here. Your sprint is finishing today. Should it be closing sprint? Even some work is not done. Even there is some stops here. Yes, you should close the sprint because it's time for it. And you need to start your next sprint immediately. If you're using Jira, be ready for some tricky moments. When you close the sprint, some of your teammates close his task or especially user story, and some capacity is simply dimmed away because you didn't start the next sprint. So be really careful with that, guys. And understanding Scrum is really simple, as I told you, but it's really easy to understand, but really hard to learn. Scrum has 3 roles, 5 events, 3 artifacts. 3 roles, you possibly already know them: product owner, Scrum Master, and developers. Developers calls any other person, could be developers, QAs, developers, etc., designers. 5 events, and there is one more question here. So 5 events: it's sprint planning, sprint review, sprint retrospective. What else? 2 more. Come on. Daily. And sprint itself that incorporate all the 4 events into one. And you can't have a sprint not covering that events. Yeah, daily. Yeah, thanks. And what you need to do, there is no grooming, guys. Forget about that word. In 2015 edition, they changed it to refinement because in some European countries, grooming is illegal. Please read Scrum, scrum.org forum about it, I suggest. And what you need to do when you have team more than 10 people, you should organize it into a few other teams. And about that, Uliana will be talking to you in a few minutes, but let me quickly pass to another few interesting slides. Apologies, got too many information, but try to fit in half an hour or something. Okay, could we have few product owners for a team? Yes or no? I will be asking you quick questions here, going through the slides. Okay, no. Okay, that's correct question. That's a correct answer to the question. If we have few teams, could be each of them having separate product owner in Scrum? So many saying yes. No. If we're developing one product, it means we should have one product owner, and that product owner should be managing all the teams. We're not talking about like safe, when each team could be having separate product owner. For the same backlog, we should have only one product owner because one person should be responsible about priorities. Okay, so who should be writing user stories? You already have that answer. Any person assigned by the team. If product owner is busy, that doesn't mean that you don't need to fill the product backlog. Team supposed to write user stories. And let me say here, I'm a Scrum Master and I was writing user stories. Really often, by the way. Was I a product owner? No, because I was not responsible for ordering product backlog. I was providing my suggestion to product owner because I was in contact with the team on a daily basis. But yeah, remains accountable for the result anyway. Yep, that's correct. Product owner remains accountable for the result. Okay, here's about Scrum Master. Scrum Master serves the Scrum team, he serves product owner, and he serves organization. Really often, as a Scrum Master, we're stopping here, but we're not diving in the organization. And it means that your Scrum bubble becoming really small and small and small, and in some way it can diminish because with huge companies, corporations, you need to provide your agile influence to other departments, and you need to learn to teach them how to do things in Scrum way, even if they're not using Scrum. And you need to provide feedback how they can be better, even through the demo cycle. Okay, 5 Scrum events, I told you about that already. And as you can see, only on sprint review, there is possible to invite external persons, stakeholders. And you're supposed to do that. They're supposed to share their reviews, their feedbacks to the team. And quick question here, should we invite only separate team members to a sprint review? So let's, for example, Scrum Master and BA as product owner, or possibly with team leads or architects doing demo for clients, or should we invite all the team? Question to the chat. Guys, I will be taking 2-3 more minutes and I will be finishing because I need to pass it to Uliana, but possibly we'll continue one day. Everyone can participate. I suggest, from my experience, we need to take all the team here because that's a result of all the team efforts. And if you've done something great, all the team should have from the customers, from stakeholders about their great job. If you've done something not correct or there are some improvements required, also all teams supposed to hear that. Okay, here's small tips about a Scrum event quick reference. As you see here, for 1 month, like sprints for 1 month's length, as normal sprint planning is taking 8 hours. That means that you're taking 8 hours meeting, could be having like 3 or 4 meetings of sprint planning for 2 hours each. Daily Scrum supposed to be 15 minutes. But what you do if you didn't finish in 15 minutes? You're supposed to finish in 15 minutes, guys. But that means that you can't have any other meetings apart from that meetings described here, like sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, sprint retrospective. We can have any other meetings required. That meetings are required by the Scrum, but that means that we don't have like architecture review, or code review, or any other sync-ups, etc. The team can be doing it. Ad hoc meetings are not forbidden, yep. And I suggest, from my experience, daily Scrum better to put as 2 chunks in calendar, or at least 1 chunk for half an hour, to finish with a daily Scrum for 10-15 minutes at least, and to have another 15 minutes as time for parking lot. Parking lot, the special term in Agile, it means if you have some questions from someone to any other person in the team or part of the team involved, we voice that question out, we voice who is involved, and once we finish with daily Scrum, only the required persons stay here and discuss that question. So we finish daily Scrum, we go to parking lot. I will drop some links in the chat once I will finish. So as you can see, that's about Scrum events, and I will be quickly moving forward because Scrum events are sprint planning and daily Scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective, and what I missed, daily Scrum, sprint review, sprint retrospective, sprint itself. Yep. And as you can see, as a Scrum artifacts, we should be having product backlog, sprint backlog, and increment. But increment is something shippable based on definition of done. That's our commitments. For sprint backlog, our artifacts, our commitment is sprint goal, and for product goal, our commitment is product goal. Guys, I will be moving to Uliana because I already finished my time. I've got lots of things to do and to teach you out about product goal, etc. But let me quickly show you as pictures only. You can see it, and we slowly move to Uliana. As you can see, product goal is launch a website that allow sales to customers inside London. Sprint goal 1, create basic website structure. Sprint goal 3, as many more sprint goals as needed. And sprint goal X, launch the website through the first orders. So that's really interesting things. And your sprint goals should be in order of your product goals. So they're allowing you to reach out that goals. And I'm stopping here. Apologies. Normally my meetings and presentation about Scrum is taking 1.5 hours at least. Hopefully we'll meet you once again and we'll continue with more funny stuff and stories. And Uliana, I'm passing over to you.
Hey again, a quick sound check. Hopefully you can hear me, unless...
Yep, everything's fine.
Okay, great. I wish I had more time because it's mission impossible to feed in few minutes just an overview of the scaling frameworks. So it's time-consuming issue. But nevertheless, let's do the best here. And the first slide I've prepared, this is like a short hint for you, because oftentimes people asking the question about which framework to choose, especially from scaling perspective, and where it's applicable. So keep in mind these 2 aspects. What do you have on the beginning? How many products do you have? And how many teams do you have? So please consider these 2 things. And if you have 1 product and 1 team, And if you are speaking about Agile today, feel free to use a Scrum, since this is the most popular, the pretty efficient Scrum framework to use. If you have one team and more than 2 products, I have nothing to recommend here, because I can't imagine how one team can handle more than 1 product work as you do. So continue doing in the same way, don't touch anything. If you have 1 product and 2 more teams, you can consider Nexus or large-scale Scrum or Scrum at scale. And the last but not least, if you have 2 or more teams and a bunch of products, please consider Scale Agile framework or large scale or discipline Agile. And on the next slide, let's dig deeper to one of the frameworks. We chose 3 of the frameworks we are going to describe today, since they are the most popular nowadays. And the first is Nexus, which is described by Nexus Guide. It was defined by Ken Schwaber, one of the authors of the Scrum framework. That's why if you have some questions on the team level, please follow Scrum, and it answers these questions. It works with from 3 to 9 teams, and the significant introduction here is Nexus integration team. The biggest aim of this team is to integrate shippable increment. The Nexus integration team consists of Scrum Master, Product Owner, and team representatives. Nexus relies a lot on the Nexus product backlog refinement session. It's a overall product refinement session where product backlog items are detailized and a lot of dependencies are addressed. Yeah, briefly, that's it about the Nexus framework. One more thing, this is Scrum-based framework. One more Scrum-based framework, this is LESS, let's call it large-scale Scrum. It works with up to 8 teams, and it's mainly manages by the principals and the Scrum team. So the transformation to LESS framework, this is a time-consuming issue, because it requires a lot of organizational issues to be addressed and resolved, and a lot of technical issues to be resolved. It requires completely flat organization, like reconstruction, rebuilding. And the interesting thing is about management role. The management role here are converted to the coaches. And on the next slide, the LESS framework is presented. Interesting here thing that we have 1 product owner who works with marketing and collaborates with the team. All the teams are working in the same sprint, and the coordination between teams is completely on the teams. Here we have feature teams. We are relying on the feature teams. A lot of cross dependencies are managed here. At the end, the aim of the sprint is to deliver shippable integrated increment, and for the overall retrospective, they are using pretty useful thing like loop cost diagram, which helps to identify the cause of the issue, and sometimes to identify the cause of the issue, it's 50% of the success. Just remains to fix it. And on the next slide, you can take a look on the large scale Scrum, but this is a huge one. It addresses the question how to handle with the a bunch of products, and the new role is introduced here, like a product owner team. Here is a product owner and area of product owners, and these area product owners are responsible for some part of the product. All other is the same as in less, the coordination, work in the sprints. This significant and crucial thing is the team of product owners. And with such setup, up to 1,000 people can be handled. And the last but not least for today, scalable agile framework, SAFe. This is very popular according to the Scrum guide. It's getting more and more popular. Currently, we have the 6th version, and their site is very useful for learning, because you can drill down to each of the sections, to each of the techniques, and the article and the corresponding knowledge will be available for you. And all the previous frameworks, they are Scrum-based frameworks. SAFe, as a basement, has agile teams. And I would like to stress your attention that this is agile teams. It means that you can work either with Scrum or Kanban on this level. And here you might have from 5 to, please come back again to this slide. You can have from 5 to 15 teams, which are managed by the program, and the separate level is introduced here, as which is called Agile Release Train. It also involves additional roles: release train engineer, system architect, and product manager. The aim of the release train engineer, of the release train, is to deliver integrated increment of all the teams. And there are additional events are here as well. This is PI, this is one iteration. Normally, this is for development iteration plus innovative and planning. The aim is of the iteration is aligned with PI objectives. Everything starts with the PI planning, which lasts, which could last up to 2 days, and finishes by the system demo, and the new PI starts. And this setup, which I was described to you, is called essential. And there are 4 such configurations in SAFe. All the next configurations are on the next slide. And this essential configuration, what SAFe recommends to start with transformation, to start with this one and then identify the next stage where you would like to come. This essential configuration is enough for one lean, agile development organization. Each new configuration requires new roles and new events, which are not visible down. But with up to full configuration, you can manage the huge enterprise, even the government, because it answers a lot of questions related to budgeting, to marketing, and a lot of things which are required. Actually, all the things which are required for the enterprises to be managed. And looks like it was the last slide related to the scaling agile frameworks. I know it's too short, but at least a high-level overview.
Thank you, Uliana. Thank you, Sergey. We're closing to the end of the talk. I encourage everyone to ask the questions. We still have a couple of minutes to answer them before we move to the feedback. While everyone is doing that, maybe one question for me. I have a bit of luxury, I will use it. If you will describe in 1 or 2 sentences, like less Nexus or SAFe, what you would choose for like a medium enterprise, for like engagement of, I don't know, 100 people or something like that? What's the decision factors that you pay attention to? Can you hear me?
Was it a question to me?
Yes. If you can answer that.
Oh, it's again a holy war topic. First of all, LAS is split in pretty flat structure. It requires to change significantly your organization. And what I mentioned regarding the role of management, they are playing coaching role mainly. It's not well prescriptive. It doesn't answer a lot of questions. That's why managers don't like this framework. Speaking about SAFe, it pretty prescriptive. It sets the order where to do what, how the development should go, and so on and so forth. And speaking about the manager's role, it defines role, what the managers should do in this framework. And of course, managers do like this framework. And one more thing, like a cons for the SAFe, it's pricey. It's really pricey because there is a roadmap of the implementation, and it requires a lot of training materials, different training materials, different workshops, series of it.
Got it. Understood. So the SAFe is the heaviest one. Okay.
Anyway, you need to weigh up all the time, all pros and cons, and to choose the decision which works the best for each project.
I also want to add here that from my experience, clients really often like SAFe because it's more understandable to business. It's predictable to business. And yes, it's a bit more costly, but at least they have a feeling that they can predict things. They are in control of it. And as you can see on the slide that Uliana described, there is other roles more involved into business stakeholders involved directly, and it's allowing business to control many things. And also business presence are included into art as well.
Got it. Thanks for the answers. I see like the people asking if we would send the presentation. I think we should send it. Let us do that after the call. I think there's a lot of valuable information. I don't see any other questions, so maybe I will move to the feedback session. We just have 2 minutes left, and we'll need the 2 minutes for that. So I will share the tool called Mentimeter. You will see it on the screen now, and there is also a link in the chat. So the idea behind that would be a live feedback. So there are 3 ways. First of all, you can join this tool. I will ask you to join that and provide your feedback. There are like very simple questions, like 30 seconds questions to answer. So you can join that in 3 ways. First of all, you can see the QR code here on the screen. Second of all, you can see a link in the chat. Just follow the link and you will see the survey. And the third option is go to the menti.com, menti.com, and use the code 99027832. We'll repeat again, 99027832. And please start answering the question. So that's really valuable for us. And we would like to hear the feedback to understand what we need to tune for the next session. While you're answering, just short announcements. Of course, I already mentioned about the next talk. Our organizer will post like a link to how you can join this talk in the chat. So you'll see a link, and there will be a link to join our DM community. So you will see updates through the DM community. And there is another thing. We have another community here in Greece that's called Data Zen community. It's about the data, big data, cloud, artificial intelligence, machine learning. So it's a bit more technical though, but still very interesting. So we'll post that link in the chat as well. Feel free to join. There's a lot of interesting topic that they also have talks once a month or once per 2 weeks. So that's saying that. Let me share. Let's see what we have from the results. How would you rate the session today? Discussion seems like quite relevant. Time was managed more or less okay. The topic was interesting, yes, because of the Agile. And of course, the last and lovely question, will they recommend the session? That's quite a good score. What else do we have? We have a couple of responses on the takeaways. Different approaches for different projects. I agree that is good. Thanks for the nice words. Very good, great, thank you. Real life cases, yeah, that's true. That was even insightful for me. If we can put an energy into the Scrum, that's a good feedback. Thanks for that. Feel free to post the feedback even after the session. Follow up with the links. Thanks for our speakers for this lovely presentation. And we are sharp on time. So thanks everyone for participation and see you soon. See you in the next episode. Enjoy the rest of your day and happy Friday for tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye-bye, thank everyone. You. I was happy to participate in that event, guys. See you in the bright light of Scrum. Take care. Bye.
Goodbye.